Yeah, we will. All right, guys. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the We Stomped You Out show. It's been a few weeks since we've been back because, there's an emotional, hurt that gets put on us when we consistently have to talk about losing and losing and losing. And though there have been a couple victories along the way, it was mostly a lost season for the New York Football Giants and the fans. Oh, look at that. Keith showing his Christmas stuff. So I am Steve. Got Rodriguez there. Nope, that way. This is terrible. Timmy Tabala down that way.
It's a story of a lovely lady.
And Keith.
What?
Keith, you're the easiest one, right there. How you guys doing? How are the holidays? How was New Year, Keith? You went down for your annual trip down to the Keys. How was that?
Amazing. It was very relaxing. I just sit on. I had a second floor patio with a hammock, rocking chairs, looking over the water. My dog with me, my wife with me, my daughter was down
first.
there.
You mentioned your dog first, okay?
Well, you don't argue.
Don't
with
let
me.
Wanda hear this.
All right. So, this is this show without Steve. Rodriguez, not Rodriguez, Faraci.
No Faraci. Sweet.
Yeah, we're
get the
Faraci-less show. Thank God.
So
let's talk.
Let's talk like men now. We can talk like men. We don't have Faraci on the show.
It was nice. It was a relaxing trip. It was just
Watch it, Rodriguez.
basically, he's back. Damn it, party ruiner. All right.
Yes.
It was a nice, relaxing trip. How was your, you doing anything good for the vacation, Tim, or?
No, not really. Just nothing.
No upstate, just home with the family, taking it easy?
Went to my brother's.
That's always good too, bro.
Stayed home Christmas Day and just chilled out New Year's Eve.
Oh, she's back. He's back.
Hey, but before we go any further here, if you're watching us on Facebook, you got to click the link that it says StreamYard on there, and you got to authorize the app so that we can see who you are and see like the little picture. So we do have a comment. What do you guys think of that Giants head coach hire? We'll get into that. I promise you. Why did Keith go?
Here we go. Here we go again.
Why? Because he's always moving his phone, his hands around the camera, and he probably, clicks out of there. Definitely didn't click out of just the app because then we would see him frozen.
You're lucky that's all we get out of him.
What? Keith, welcome back.
Somehow form a family.
He joins the show like 6 or 7 times, so you'll get used to that. But again, if you're watching on Facebook, click that link, authorize the app, and we can see who you are, and then we can pop up the comments that you do. Right now, you're a nameless, faceless person, but we're definitely going to get into that. Keith Cliff, look at this. We'll get into the coaching hire, of course. That's going to be our big topic today. And Rodriguez, what'd you do for the holiday? Drank. Salute. Mazel tov, all that good stuff.
L'chaim or something like that.
L'chaim.
I'm not drinking, but I brought my.
I thought you were gonna share your bottle of water or whatever.
Yeah, I put a little
Snapple. There we go.
Snapple.
Snapple, if you're watching,
That's a
we're here. All right, let's get the party started with a little bit of theme music, huh?
Do it.
You out.
Bye-bye.
I put up Eli Manning, the greatest quarterback in Giants history, and you say do it, Keith. Give it to them. Give it to them.
Eli Man.
Yes.
All right, don't show us his butt.
My dog just started barking inside. He's like, "What the hell are you hollering about?"
He knows the song. He knows the
show
song.
if not for Ruger.
No, he hears me yelling. He's ready to bite an ankle.
Oh. All right, and then Tim, I know you said you didn't do much for the holiday, but you just started your annual what? What do you annually do this time of year?
Sopranos marathon.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Somebody asked me today, is it really worth watching? Hello. It was on something that you commented on. It was that I think it was the anniversary 21 years ago or something like that. And I guess they watched the first few of them and they didn't get into it. So they said, "Is this really worth watching?" I said, "Go back and watch it again."
Wait, isn't there a show or a movie coming out where his kid plays him?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Came to Newark.
That I want to see.
I'm a little nervous about it, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it.
You guys,
that's
off.
Good point.
Slightly off topic, but related because there's a lot of characters or actors in this show too. Is Boardwalk Empire? You guys ever watch that?
Oh man, I loved it.
Great.
I loved that show.
Whoa. Great freaking show. Sorry,
careful, Keith. I don't want you to fall. Nothing.
Not
No.
Great show. You watch that, Farachi? Tim?
Yeah, I saw it.
No, I've not seen it.
Farachi, you missed out on a lot.
That's with Cousin Tony, right? Cousin Tony's in that.
Cousin Tony's in that. I think Uncle June is in some parts.
Yep.
Uncle June, that rat bastard.
What's his name? Oh my God, I forget his name. The guy that the guy that Artie Bucco beats up.
Benny?
Benny's in that too.
Yeah.
What about
Benny works with Lucky Luciano.
Benny and the Jets?
Hey, Farachi, you ever see Boardwalk Empire?
Let's talk about something Farachi knows nothing about.
Yeah, do it.
No. Let me see.
Oh, look at you.
Well, look at that.
Widen your view. Tim, can you do that too?
I don't want to touch anything.
Whoa.
Look at that. There we go. All right, now we got. Yes, sir. Just leave it.
Okay.
Just.
I'm gonna go upside down for a second. Look at this.
Look at this. No, you're
This
back.
is the Giants.
Here we go.
Boom. That's my palm.
When you do a full circle, you do a full circle.
Yeah, you do full
That's
full circle. All right, so we
We
got
don't do 360 in New York. We do 3 city.
we got a few viewers so far. The one that talked about the Giants head coach, and then Mike Domino, welcome to the show. He says, "I feel this guy is going to be good." We get that out there. He coached alongside Bill in New England, and we'll see. I'm just sick and tired of watching this team lose. So are we. And if you've been watching the show, you know that it's time after time. By the way, cute kid. Time after time, we're going over, and it's like the same repetitive stuff. And on the last episode, I said, it's not just us. There's all the Giant shows, all the Giant shows.
OPC.
He's down with OPC.
He's down with OPC.
All right, let's get into it.
Terrible.
Unless you want to get it.
Wait, explain OPC real quick. Come on, Farachi.
You think we should? No, that's not. Okay, let me. If I know Farachi, he asked you, but I'm just gonna say it is a offline joke between us that I think is better we don't explain. But if Farachi, if you want to continue to explain after that, go for it.
No, it's probably not enough.
Yeah, it's probably better we don't explain it.
Tell Tim.
It's an off-color joke.
Well, it's no off air.
He needs to know who he's dealing with.
Tell me off the air.
Creepy.
I'll tell Tim off the air.
I want to get into a little bit of video real quick about Joe Judge, the newest head coach for the New York Football Giants. He was the former wide receivers coach and special teams guy for the New England Patriots.
In honor of the departed Warner Wolf, can I roll us into that video?
Oh, why? Definitely.
Let's go to the videotape.
Let's go to the videotape. Let's get it up here, and we'll go a little full screen for you guys and take a little listen to our latest head coach, Joe Judge.
Here comes
now, there's a question out there I'm sure a lot of people are asking. That's number one, who am I? Well, maybe I can explain that a little bit better, but instead of saying who am I, by telling you what's relevant in this conversation with being a coach of the New York Giants, what I'm about. And what I'm about is an old school physical mentality. Okay?
Yeah.
A product on the field that the people of this city and region be proud of, because this team will represent this area. We'll play fast. We'll play downhill. We'll play aggressive. We'll punch you in the nose for 60 minutes. We'll play every play like it has a history and a life of its own with a relentless competitive attitude.
That's right.
We'll play fundamentally sound. We will not beat ourselves. That is our mission right here. Okay? I'm about caring for the players in the locker room. Let's not forget there's a human element to this game. Let's not think that in professional sports that paying a paycheck to somebody makes it absent of empathy. We need to make sure that we take care of the players in our locker room, that we treat them the right way, that we teach them the correct techniques, and that we put them in the right situation to be successful. We're going to ask these men to come in and give everything they have every day. We're going to demand it, and we appreciate everything they give us. It's our responsibility to take care of them on a daily basis and make sure when they are done with our game, they are better furthered for the rest of their career as a father, a husband, and a professional, whatever avenue they take.
That's right.
Now, what this team's going to look like, I mentioned earlier, I want this team to reflect this area. I want the people that pay their hard-earned money in the neighborhoods of New York, North Jersey, South Jersey to come to our games and know that the players on the field play with the same attitude they wake up with every morning. That is blue collar. It's hard work. It's in your face. We're not going to back down from anybody. We're going to come to work every day and grind it out the way they do in their jobs every day. And they can invest their money in our program knowing it's worthwhile. They put a Giants uniform on. They put a Giants hat or jersey on, that it's not representing just the 53 on the field, but it's representing their neighborhoods, their communities, and their families with the values they have instilled in their children. Now, at this moment, my priorities are pretty simple. I have an outsider's view of this team. I've competed against the Giants. I've studied this team from the outside looking in, preparing myself for this job and opportunity. But I have to make myself fluent in a language within the building. I have to study the players. I have to evaluate the current coaching staff and give everybody a fair evaluation to make sure we make the right decisions, that I have a clear vision of what the path going forward needs to be to help these players progress the correct way. Relative to staff, I do not have a staff in place. Yes, I have some names in mind, but we will talk to everybody. We will take our time. My priority is to put the right men around these players that they can come to work every day. They can be coached hard. They can be taught. I want good people. Before anything, if you're going to work in an organization, you're a good person. I don't want any alternative agendas. I'm making that clear right now.
No,
there's not going to be a coach in an organization who has nothing but the best interest of the players at hand and isn't going to come to work every day and put their butt on the line for the guys who are going to work hard for them. All right? I want teachers, not presenters. I don't want someone who looks fancy in front of a screen that can sell you with a lot of different sales lines. I want teachers. I want old school people who can get to our players and give them the mental image of what it's supposed to look like. And I want them to demonstrate on a daily basis the work ethic of what it's going to take to do it successfully day in and day out. Because over the course of 6 months of this season, it takes day in and day out to be successful. The margins of error in this league are too small. You cannot get by with some kind of magic scheme or new gimmick or think you've reinvented the wheel. The same things win football games that have always won football games. It's fundamentals. And those fundamentals will start for us in the classroom. They'll start with being at meetings on time. They'll start with being on the field on time, in the proper dress. They'll start with knowing your playbook. They'll start with being out there and stretching the right way and warming your body up the right way that you prevent any kind of soft tissue injuries on the field. And then they carry over to the fundamentals on the field. It's running, it's tackling, it's ball security, okay? It's a contact sport. You can't get around that. It's meant to be a physical game. It's for tough people. We will practice with a physical attitude. We will practice in pads. We will practice live tackling. Not to make a statement that we're trying to be tough. We're going to practice live tackling because I believe in doing it safely. You want to make your players safer? You start by instructing them how to do it. And we're going to work on everything we do. And everything we ask them to do at full speed on Sunday at a competitive level, we're going to make sure that we have practiced, corrected, and re-practiced before they have to do it at a live pace. Okay? There's not going to be shortcuts what we have to do. It's a tough division. It's a tough division in cities full of tough people. And they expect to see a program. They expect to see a product that represents them. And I'm going to do everything in my power every day to make sure the people of this city and this area turn on the TV or sit in the stadium seats and are proud to say that we're their New York Giants. All right. Now, from this point forward, any questions you may have, I'll be happy to answer to the best of my ability.
All right. So, Timmy, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, what can you say? The guy said everything you want to hear. I mentioned you guys in the message. I would put a helmet on right now and run through a wall for the guy. So he says all the right things. Let's just hope it translates.
Yeah, Rodriguez, what do you think? I know that he got you hooked as soon as he said, "I'm an old school guy. I'm an old school coach."
You knew that was gonna get me, right?
I know it.
As soon as he said we're gonna be tough guys, we're gonna jack people up, we're gonna play hard-nosed football, and I just hope that he hires the right guys to bring his vision through. I mean, he needs a defensive coordinator that's an old school tough guy. He needs an offensive coordinator that's a little bit creative now, because there's a lot of things that you can do offensively, and defensively also. But you need a guy that's going to smash your mouth, and then he's got to get the personnel. They have to draft well. Unfortunately, let's go to the bad side real quick. We still kept the general manager. We still kept the guy who's not making, who's a little bit off on the picks. But let's see what this guy does. Let's see how much power he has. He's a young guy. I like the fact that he's a young guy and he's a hard-nosed guy. Right, guys? I mean, if he's a young guy who could be with us for another 10, 15 years and build the legacy like Coughlin did, like Parcells did. Yeah, we lost Keith again. like Belichick did. Spagnuolo, the defense he came out with, he created all these things. The Giants are defense first. As long as we're tough guys beating people up, I can live through the season.
Yes.
Although I'm a little worried about a rookie coach and basically a rookie quarterback. And kind of a rookie running back. They're all very young, so everybody's gonna kind of grow up together. But I trust in Belichick. I know you guys do, because he's our guy. I trust in him teaching this guy how to do things properly. So let's hope that happens.
Yeah, Mike, I think we agree with you. Mike is talking about how the GM should have gotten fired. Absolutely,
for sure.
Gettleman should have been gone, but we got to live with him for another year. And we'll see how that goes. But in his first interview after Judge's press conference, he was talking about how they asked him, what's the philosophy? He said, and they said, "Are you still going to be the guy to pick the players, and then the coach is forced to coach the players that you want to choose?" And he said, "No, there's going to be collaboration involved and whatnot. I'll believe it when I see it." But we'll see. Keith, what did you think about the conference? Was
that the 40-ounce you're drinking over there, Tim? I was. I mean,
oldie.
I was very pumped. The guy, without being on the field, has really sold me. Once the players get on the field under his direction, we'll really see if he sells me or not. But his press conference was really convincing. He brought back, and I'll use my son's terminology when him and I would text him back and forth after the press conference. He is very Coughlin-like. And that's my son's era. For us four, Coughlin is accurate. However, we would probably say more he is very Parcells, Belichick-like. However, Coughlin is also a part of that system, and if you think about it, this guy Joe Judge is a part of that system. So it's really, to me, it's tradition, and it's getting passed down back to the Giants. The Giants have a history from Landry, from Lombardi, of just letting people go into other franchises and making them champions. So it feels like, hopefully, and I'm hoping, this is really hopeful thinking, that it's full circle at this point, that now it's coming back to us, the people that we have nurtured and sent off and have made champions in other teams, they have nurtured other people, and they're coming back to us now. And hopefully this guy, he's young, as Rodriguez was saying, and he hopefully will be somebody we have for a long time. And he brings us a lot of success, because prior to this, we've had Jim Fossil was a successful coach under us. A lot of people have issues with him. I like Fossil. Then we have Coughlin, came under a lot of controversy. Coughlin, when he first came in, was really tough. He shook out a lot of the snowflakes, i.e. Tiki Barber. You like the prop there? And I think that's what this guy Joe Judge is going to do. He's going to shake out a lot of the snowflakes. And what I mean by snowflakes is players who are there for themselves, players who are not willing to put themselves in a position for the team to win, only in a position for them to win, such as Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham's a super talented dude. I wish him all the best, but I don't think he was what we needed to win. And I think this guy, Joe Judge, is going to shake a lot of that out. I think the hiring so far is a good hiring, but I can't tell you until week 17 how I truly feel about it. I can only tell you based off press conferences and other people's recommendations. So that's where I'm at based off of those limited facts.
Yep. All right. All fair. What about, and Tim, you talked about the wide range of emotions that we all went through as a team of the We Stomped You Out show. And of course, and this is also true of Giants Nation, all the Giants fans, is we start seeing dominoes fall, and McCarthy visits, and then he goes and stays at Jerry Jones's in Jerry Jones's bed.
Slumber party time, Dick.
What? What just happened?
I don't know what just happened. My video went out, but I just said slumber party time, Dick. I mean, I was hoping Matt Rule would have a sleepover with Mara, right? But hey, I think we got the good guy. But anyway, Tim, sorry, not stealing your thunder, bro.
No.
Sleepover thing is funny.
So we hear that, and I wasn't disappointed that we didn't get McCarthy. I wasn't upset about that one. But when the Matt Rule thing came out and he was going to Carolina, then it's like, holy shit! Now we can't even get our top guy, this guy that grew up as a Giants fan, and all this other stuff. So now I'm starting to think, now Gettleman is really like James Dolan, and nobody's going to come here, just like nobody wants to come play for the Knicks, right? But then you start hearing about the ridiculous contract, and really the ball's on Rule at that point to get the offer from Carolina, and then call the Giants, and not even an interview, call the Giants, say, hey, you want to match? No, 7 years, $70 million. No, we're not matching that, right? Go to Carolina, go do your thing, enjoy Cam Newton. So then
I can't hate him for doing that though, bro.
No, but that's a ballsy move. It
is, but I can't
conversation.
Fuck it, why not? You're gonna give me
what has he done? What has he done?
Hold on.
Exactly. So
screw it. You like the props I got going, right? Really, why not? You gotta ask. You never know. You might get more money. Don't be a
but at least
prompts or props?
Both.
Props. That's the props.
But my problem with it, not to ask to match or anything, but at least sell yourself sell yourself to the Giants and talk about what you're gonna do with the schemes and whatnot, the players and all that stuff, and then say, hey, you want to match?
Maybe he doesn't want to be a Giant coach. Maybe you guys got to remember that not everyone wants to play for us, coach for us, or be in New York. Some people can't handle it.
So maybe it's a media. It's the media's fault that was getting. Matt Rule wants to come to the Giants.
It's Matt Rule's fault for being a.
Exactly. So anyway, enjoy Cam Newton. You got yourself a hell of a running back over there, but enjoy Cam Newton and quarterbackless team. So and
sour much?
And then what? I'm sour on two fronts there. I'm not sour on Rule anymore. You get your $70 million out of here. I'm sour that I chose Cam Newton this year for the first time. And
can I just ask a question? Have we heard Tim's opinion yet? Because he's looking pretty patient over there.
I'm just enjoying.
So this is the timeline. So then Joe Judge, the new number one judge in New York, He gets hired. Was that about an hour? Well, that was about an hour later, right? So
my Herman Munster comment went completely without remark.
We don't have to talk about him. We don't have to talk about him.
And then we hear this guy now. Giants have hired Joe Judge, and now from what I want to say happened, we all started scrambling. Joe Judge, what the hell is going on right now? And started scrambling to see who this guy is, and it was pretty cool how he started off his press conference was talking about what's he doing. Want to start off by talking about who I am and what I'm going to bring here. So, Timmy, I know that you have a lot of thoughts on this. So, talk to us about your range of emotions through that. It was really like an hour and a half, 2 hour time frame.
Well, the roller coaster started with Gettleman not getting fired.
Yes.
The day Sherman got fired and he didn't go, that's the roller coaster going up, and you're scared because you can't believe that this idiot did not get fired yet. Yeah, exactly. You're holding on, you're praying that you're not going to die, and he's still here. And then his first press conference, I know we were sharing it amongst ourselves, he contradicted himself like 10 times and flat out lied to the press. How do you do that?
He looks terrible in shorts, too.
Lying and contradicting yourself constantly.
You know what he reminds me of? He reminds you like a call center manager who's trying to explain to you why you can't have the day off.
Basically, that's basically.
All right.
He's like a circus clown, like the
He is. No, he's full of sugar.
Everyone called. I don't know about how down there, but everyone up here, all the news, all the news people called him out on it. Did not let him get away with it. They do. You're lying. You're contradicting yourself. What the hell are you talking about? And he just, bubble with a stupid accent and a stupid mumble, blah, 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 and just moved on. So that was that part. And you know what, though? As far as Judge goes, I know how bad it was when we lost Rule, but everyone up here is still bashing the Giants for that. But how can you bash them? They didn't get a shot. They did not get a shot at him. He went, got his offer, said match it with a big set of balls.
Yep.
They're like, we're not giving you a college coach $62 million plus incentives for 7 years. Are you out of your mind? So
Get over yourself.
I applaud the Giants for that. I applaud the Mariners, Wellington. I love the fact that they did that. And now they found a guy who, like I said, he talks the talk. Let's just hope he can walk the walk because,
Would you have given Saban?
Right now, I'll put my head to this wall for him. So that's how awesome that was.
Would you have given Saban that money? Nick Saban?
Nah. I don't want a college coach. Okay. McCarthy was actually my number one.
Yeah, and mine too. Yeah, that's true.
Once he went, whatever, and then I was like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna get Rule, and then the real emotion started.
My number one was Jason Garrett.
Single media bashed him. Every media was on top of him like crazy. Gettleman sucks. You're not gonna get nobody. You know what? I think we found somebody who wants to be here, who's gonna like being here, and who's gonna turn the team around.
And who's gotten high praise from successful coaches within their realm. So Saban in college and Belichick in the pros.
How can they not praise him?
Oh, and then you know what?
Come on.
People who I trust. I mean, as far as media guys go, because you can't trust Stephen A. Smith.
No,
but you could trust somebody.
What do you mean, Tim? Why can't you trust Stephen A. Smith?
Oh God, I hate that guy. I hate that guy.
Yeah, he's a Giants fan. I mean, I love this guy. Bad man.
You know what? I'm on board.
Yeah, and so that's what.
Get him a helmet.
Stephen A. Smith has been really. You remember when I played the video of all the haters of Danny Dimes? He was like the big. What did he say? What kind of name is Daniel Jones? Well, what kind of name is Stephen A. Smith?
Well, I remember when we first.
Stupid.
Wow. Completely kind of unrelated to what we're talking about, but since you mentioned Danny Dimes, during the Put It in the Book show, which is another show we have on Cine Sports Talk channel, it's a Mets show. Check it out if you're a Mets fan. We were on that show during the draft, and you remember I was checking my phone. I was like, we drafted a quarterback named Danny Jones. None of us really knew who he was, and then later, all three of us all three of us, meaning the Put in the Books show guys, Steve, and myself, went and checked it out, and then we pulled Tim in that conversation. All of us were saying, all four of us at that point were saying, I'm not mad at this draft, because it looked like they did due diligence in trying to understand who they wanted on this team and who fit, and based on his skill set, how they can use this guy for go forward and longevity as far as success is concerned. And I think they pulled that same theory or that same process and thought process with this guy, Joe Judge. And that's kind of where I'm bringing it full circle. He, he's young. He's from a ultimate championship system, twofold, right? In college and in the NFL. And he's 8 years under the tutelage of Belichick, who right now is possibly the best coach of our lifetime, all cheating aside. And when you see his press conference,
He plays the Giants.
You see his press conference, and you see his very Giant-like attitude. You have to start thinking maybe Gettleman gets it. Maybe he does understand the Giant. Yeah, I know you're saying no, but you have to think, because this guy Joe Judge is very Giant-like.
Yeah.
He's the coach. He's the attitude as Giant fans, as lifelong Giant fans, as we all are. He's the coach, the attitude of a coach that we are accustomed to. Somebody who wants to go out there and make you hurt for 4 quarters. And if we don't win, we want to make sure we put an impression on you and we learn what your game is and beat you next time. And that's kind of what he reminds me of. He's from that school. So I'm, in short, I'm happy with Gettleman's decisions. I'm just not happy with some of his press conference, how he handles publicly. But from drafts and hirings, he hasn't been all that bad. Shermer was not good, okay, but he hasn't been all that bad. So Giant fans, give this guy a little leeway, give him 1 more year to let things come to fruition. Let's see how he handles his draft, and let's see what happens with Joe Judge.
He picked a terrible head coach who brought in a terrible system that doesn't fit the Giants' lifestyle.
He did, but remember, he was coming off. He was coming off Coach of the Year as offensive coordinator in Minnesota, right? So it's not like he picked somebody who had
Minnesota, Phoenix, Arizona, San Louis. Those Midwest stuff, they can't play in New York. Come on, please, give me
Screw you and your domes. But if you think about it, he really had the credentials. It wasn't like he hired somebody without credentials. Now he went completely opposite. He hired somebody technically without the career credentials, but with all of the credentials of people we trust, who he was surrounded by and learned from. So,
Belichick doesn't have a real good track record with his coaches. The guys that have worked for him, the track record is not that great. Andy Reid has actual better track record than Belichick. So I love Belichick.
I got a lot of respect for Reid.
Some of the people that work for him kind of bombed out.
You're right. So you look at Xavier McDaniels. Is that his first name, Xavier? Did I just make that up?
Didn't that guy play on the Knicks? That guy played on the Knicks.
I think you're right. The X-Men. If you look at I'm making stuff up. That's right.
I want to remind everybody that Keith started this show off by saying that he's not drinking tonight.
So if you think about it, right, let's start from the top. Look at his drafts. He's made some good draft decisions. He's made some good trade decisions. We didn't all agree with the Odell Beckham trade, but as of now, I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, agree with the Odell Beckham trade. And then if you look at his coach hiring, that's where he has lacked, because Shermer
Can I start the conspiracy theory?
Yes.
Go for yours.
I don't think Gettleman had anything to do with hiring. I think it was Tisha Mara who personally called Belichick for the recommendation, then did the interview. I don't know if Gettleman had anything to do with it. He might
very possible, because Tisha Mara have a relationship with Belichick,
and I'm comfortable with that.
So am I.
I'm comfortable with you, Faraci.
Oh,
Belichick is fond of the Giants franchise.
Do you know that little that meme that the all meme that I always send to you guys?
Yeah.
That's an actual famous guy.
Who is that? Is that Beast? Do I hear Beast?
Yeah, it's Beast. But
Beast.
I'm not going to be able to find it right now. But I just found out that this guy, who I'm always sending this on, there it is. Here it is right here. Let me see if I can bring it up here. But anyway, this guy is... It's ridiculous. There we go. Don't worry.
I'm doing my full screen gesture.
No, we're gonna get it here. But there it is.
Rocky, do it full screen.
That guy.
Little
that guy right there.
Oh,
What's his
Farachi.
name?
He kind of looks like you with hair, bro.
Yeah, so you know what? So I shared it to somebody, and they were like, "Oh, do you know who that is?" I was like, "No, I didn't know that was a person that like I mean that's famous." And so he's a YouTuber, and he got in all this trouble because he sent a video of himself masturbating to a model, and then so no more.
Stop it, people! Stop sending dick pics and pussy pics. Stop it! Keep it private.
So
this is just a rant. But keep it private. Yeah. No one needs to see your stuff on the internet. Stop it. It's no need for your penis on the internet. No need for masturbation on the internet. Keep it private. Keep it with you and your significant whatever other.
Keep the penis down.
If I could find Keith Larris's penis online.
You won't, because I don't be doing that, bro. Yeah.
Please don't find his penis online.
All right. So before we lose too many viewers here for the penis pictures,
there it is.
Wow!
Congratulations.
All right. So let's talk about what. Congratulations, Wandy. Let's talk about what this guy is getting himself into, because he's not coming into a situation where it's all it's all going to be nice and easy moving forward. I mean, there are some positives to the Giants team, clearly, but there's a lot of negatives. So let's talk first about where they ranked this year. Now we can talk about the full scope of the season. So in offense, they were in yards. In offense, they were ranked 23rd in the NFL. In defense, allowing yards, 25th in the NFL. And then when you talk about points, so there are those bend don't break defenses, and then there's offensives that gain a lot of yards.
Punch you in the nose,
but don't put a lot of points on the board. So you got the Giants on offense. They were 18th, so 23rd in yards, but 18th in points per game. Not great, middle of the pack there. But on defense, so they were 25th in defense and giving up points, but 30th in points per game. So that they gave up 28.2 points per game. You guys, they gave up 28.2 points per game, and they scored 21.3. So you're
That's
actually
a winning season right there, buddy.
Yeah, but you're within. There's a lot of one-score games here, and there was a website called the Daily Snark that put up a. I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but they reversed all the one-score games. So it's the teams that are really good in the one-score games. They reversed it. Same for the bad teams, one-score games. So the Giants would have been, if you reverse the one-score games, would have been 7-9. And still mediocre, which I don't want, because then you just drop down for no reason. Then you become the Cowboys. You're.
You know what? I didn't hear with that nonsense.
We stunk.
If you freaking lost, you lost. You lost.
Yeah,
if you lost,
that does indicate.
End the game. Shermer's a loser.
That does indicate that you're close. I muted Keith for a second. Other teams that were
you cannot mute me forever.
Other teams that had a big difference in it. The Cowboys would have been 12-3 if you reversed it. The Chargers is the biggest one because they can't win close games. They would have been 12-3 also. But then you look at it, also very interesting. The Seahawks would have been 3-12.
Wow.
But they're not. But they're not. That's reality. You don't live in a fantasy world, live in a fantasy world. Let's live in reality. The Giants sucked. He has to get a better defense. He has to get a better offensive coordinator. Although I like that number 44 guy. That guy was in on a lot of plays. I love that guy. He was a hustler. He played really hard. But what's his name?
Golden.
I love that guy, man. He was in there. He was right at that quarterback trying to. I like that guy.
Rodriguez
guys
loves
like that. That's my favorite guy now. 44.
Rodriguez loves the guy.
I love him.
All right, so there goes that. So you got Danny Dimes who played really well in some games, pretty poorly in others, and I think that we can all agree that the biggest thing with Danny Dimes is he's holding on the ball too long and he's fumbling a lot.
He's a rookie.
But I do want to make a comparison to this douchebag in Cleveland because he had all that shit to talk at the beginning of the year. So Daniel Jones, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions on the year, and douchebag Mayfield, 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions.
Did you just say 24 touchdowns and 12 interceptions?
That was our boy.
That's
Danny Dimes.
fantastic for
that
him.
is.
How many
excellent.
games played for each?
Well, Baker Mayfield played all 16, and Danny Dimes played 13.
How many touchdowns did Baker Mayfield have? Mayfield?
22.
So he had less games. So
Less in more games. Baker Mayfield plays
less than more games. So if you look at,
he's not drinking, guys. Don't worry.
Huh?
He's not drinking. Don't worry.
Not
much.
If you look at Baker Mayfield, but the thing is, Baker Mayfield is in his sophomore year. A lot of times they struggle. I think Baker Mayfield had a little bit. I think he's better than that, but I don't know if he's as good as he says he is because he, you know what I mean? Like he's talking a big game, but he had a lot of offensive weapons and he didn't do a whole lot with it, including a really good offensive line.
He had a healthy offensive weapons. You know, the Giants had Sterling Shepard was out for how many games missing with the concussion. Golden Tate was out. Ingram's out all the damn time. Barkley was out for how long? And so the Giants have good weapons on offense. It's just the injury problems. But sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, I'm with you. That's exactly where I'm going. Yeah, it's just.
What you were saying in the two says one thing. What they really lacked was, I mean, not just the skill, but they lacked a killer instinct, and they lacked the will to win. Because how many games were they up? And
the closing ability.
No adjustments. They couldn't close a freaking game out if their life depended on it. Hopefully, Judge is going to give them that killer instinct, that freaking Karate Kid finish him mentality that they need.
And you bring up a good point. We were in it against the Patriots in the fourth quarter. We were in it against the Packers, and then they just pulled away. So it's lack of, like you said,
the Eagles. Don't forget, we were beating the Eagles.
Beating the Eagles, and then the Eagles made the adjustment, like you just said. Perfect point. The Eagles made that adjustment in the second half. We did not do anything. We did nothing different. And then there's the really irritating games where Barkley is getting the ball and he's doing well, and then we just stop, right? And if you look at it, also the 5 of the last 7 games that the Giants lost were 1-score games. So you got go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of the things I saw today was, and I'm not sure if it came from Shermer or somebody within the organization, that as an organization, meaning all the players on the field, we practiced so hard. We went out there and gave it all we had until the last second of the fourth quarter. It doesn't translate why we haven't won.
We were great in the first half.
It really does translate. What's up, Jada? It really does translate because if you listen to the show, all of us have said at one point or another, the truth of the matter is, especially Tim and Rodriguez has harped on this, there are a severe deficiency in halftime adjustments. You can't go into the second half with the first half plan. No matter you could be slaughtering the other team, you have to change it up. Any team with quarter to quarter, but especially halftime when you go into the locker room, you need to change it up. If you're ahead by 3 touchdowns, change it up because that other team is going to figure you out. It doesn't, you can't continue with the same scheme over and over again, and that's where we severely lacked is adjustments, in-game adjustments. We had good schemes. Shermer, to his credit, helped to have some good schemes going to that any game. But the problem is he was terrible at in-game adjustments, and that's really critical and crucial to winning a championship. And in New York sports, we don't really care about much else than a championship. Let's be honest. So,
and you would think. You would think that Shermer. This is a theme from last year too. Making the adjustments. You would think that after all these losses, you would come back from these adjustments. The Vikings. That was another game. The Vikings game. We were in that game. It was a home game. We wound up losing by 18 points. Patriots. The following week, we were tied 14-14 in the fourth quarter. Wound up losing by 21 points. Cardinals. The game after that. No adjustments. We lost by 6.
Dare you make me feel like a Dolphin fan?
Lions. We lost to the Lions. We were 3-13. A depleted Lions. Oh, was Stafford playing that game? I can't even remember. But the Lions went 3-13. Everybody got hurt. That entire roster got jacked up. The Cowboys games. We got slaughtered in those games. The Jets again. No adjustments. The Bears. We lost to a Bears team that was playing sorry as hell. Their quarterback is trash. Mitch Trubisky, who I actually defended the guy in some of the drafts, the fantasy drafts. I said any guy that can throw a 6-touchdown game is a pretty decent quarterback. But now he's throwing left and right and it's all over the place. Then you had the Packers game that the Giants were in. No adjustments. Then they slaughtered us in the second half. We were up big on the Eagles. Lost in overtime. We pulled away from the Dolphins, but again, that's the Dolphins.
It's a bad coach. He was a bad coach.
The Dolphins have a better coach than we do. The Dolphins team with
Flores.
Talent, Brian Flores is.
Stop right there for 1 sec before you continue. What organization did he come from? New England Patriots. Let's go ahead and continue.
So, but he didn't get the results. See, and what's the guy's name in Detroit? Pencil guy.
Yeah, the beard dude with
the sloppy guy that doesn't get a haircut.
He also this year, I think like something like 35 of their 53-man roster got hurt at some point this year, and so that's why I think that the Belichick coaches underneath him or the numbers are a little skewed because you got guys being hired into the Dolphins who are just atrocious, and he made the most of it though. Then we beat the Redskins by 6 points, and then again we lost to the Eagles, who looked like trash in the playoffs. So that was the best way.
Don't forget they went right down the field.
Yeah. Yes.
Not even try to stop them. They went right down the field.
Boom, boom, boom,
win defense.
That's a good point because the Giants were actually handling their offense. And then it was that fourth quarter drive that led to the touch, and then it was another overtime drive that was like this and like this. Jader, I know that you're watching. Just want to wish you good luck. He's out in Los Angeles. He's going to be doing some schmodown stuff for those guys that used to work at Collider.
Good luck, Jader.
Good luck, buddy. And drop some Cine Sports talk.
So quick thing on Flores. I mean, listen, prior to the season start, we were talking about, and a lot of America was talking about the Dolphins possibly being the worst team in NFL history. This guy took that team. He played it to the point where he got 5 wins out of them. That's pretty damn good. They were terrible. Let's be honest. They were terrible. So the guy did a good job, Flores. I'm not sure if you were talking negatively about him.
Why did that happen? You know why? Because again, what we say all the time, they traded all their best players. He fit the team to what they had. When you fit the team with what you have, you're gonna win a freaking game. The Giants didn't do that.
Okay. Good point, Tim. So let's go back to Joe Judge's press conference, where he pretty much outlined his plan, being he's going to fit the player
Exactly.
to their ability, as opposed to trying to mold a player into a scheme.
God
You know, and honestly, any smart coach, I don't understand why this hasn't been done. I don't understand why Sherman didn't go for it. I don't understand why any coach doesn't do it. But you take the
Sherman's
talent
an
you
asshole.
have and you play them to their ability. You don't take the talent you have and make them into something they're not. And that's kind of what a lot of these people do. They're very arrogant about their schemes, about their sets, about their plans, and they think they're so great that they can make every player fit into their scheme. But the truth is, you have to take the talent you have and use them accordingly. It's just,
Which makes for a bad coach.
What's that?
Which makes her a bad coach. That's like
Right, but Joe Judge specifically addressed that.
Aaron Judge as the starting pitcher. That's basically what Sherman was doing out there. He was square into a circle hole. He never passed kindergarten.
I think Shermer was very predictable. I think for the first quarter he would study a team and understand their game, and he would attack them very well. But I think he would not stray from his plan, and it became very predictable.
He's not a head
Yeah,
coach.
you're right. Amen. You're right, bro. And he's very predictable. And these other coaches who are smarter than him in coaching, that is, just said, hey, you're not going to adjust. We're going to adjust, and we're going to smack you in the face. So I don't see this guy, Joe Judge, doing that. But, again, he sold me press conference-wise. Let's see what he does at Week 17.
All right, Keith, let's see what you got.
So Joe Judge, New York Giants, and the Week 17 deadline, which is very far away, is brought to you by Brooklyn Water Coffee Roasters.
I want to make sure next year's deadline.
Well, Week 17 passed this year, so we got to do Week 17 next year.
Okay.
Yeah, when I say Week 17, I mean, I want to see him a full season, you know what I mean? And that full season would have been brought to you by Brooklyn Water Coffee Roasters, from their roastery to your front door. Only the finest coffee. They don't fool around. They handpick I don't know if they handpick their beans. I don't want to lie. But they do take the finest beans. There you go. And they make some amazing coffee. I still have some coffee here from Brooklyn Water Coffee Roasters, and it's amazing. That one right there, Farachi showing, is called Jacked Up Cupcake, as you can see. If you can't read, like Farachi, he doesn't read. Jacked Up Cupcake is a part of the high energy line coffee. It has 50% more caffeine. There's an array of different flavors within that high energy coffee. I drink my coffee black, and I can tell you I've tried a plethora of flavors, and they are all plethora of flavors. They are all amazing. Jacked Up Cupcake is also what we call our friend Rodriguez. They have another flavor called Cinnabuzz. They all have another flavor called Dark Roast, Dark Chocolate. It's not part of the high energy line, but it is delicious. And it has how many calories, Farachi? Zeto. How many calories does Jacked Up Cupcake have? I forgot.
Zeto.
Woo! Brooklyn Water Coffee Roasters.com, from their roastery to your front door. If you go on now and you use the code, is it still spring? What are we doing?
Stove.
Do we have a code?
Stove.
Snow?
Not stove.
I can't hear you. Some reason you're dull. Okay, so we don't necessarily have a code. If we do, we'll put it up on the site. But code or not, you need to go into BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com. Order yourself a bag. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. If you're a coffee lover, if you drink your coffee black like me and you don't dress it up, the coffee, the beans, the flavoring is delicious. Guaranteed to be sent to you within 24 hours of its roast date. www.brooklynwatercoffeeroasters.com. Get 'em. There you go, hot stove. You were coming in like you underwater, bro. I couldn't hear you. So use the code hot stove. Buy 2 bags, you get 1 free. That means you could try 3 flavors for the price of 2. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Throw up the gang signs, Timmy.
What's that?
For the price of 2.
BW.
I was listening to some of the old shows that we did, and we talked about the coffee fart. And so now that we're on video, this is the coffee butthole, and that is where we used to squeeze it, and out comes the smell. So you can just be sitting there, and you could just squeeze the bag, and out comes the smell at a little coffee butt right there, coffee butthole.
The best of the old shows is when we were introducing it. I said Brooklyn Water Coffee Roasters, and I did this, and then Rodriguez threw it right into my hand.
3D.
Yeah. No, but seriously, folks, that coffee is amazing. But now we're gonna get back to the Giants. So enough of coffee.
Yeah, well, actually, that's a good transition because you talked about how you like to drink your coffee black, and so there's a rule in the NFL.
I have a Rooney coffee rule
called the Rooney Rule. And so, let's talk a little about the Rooney Rule because that's come up here within the last few days or so, like big time. So the Rooney Rule is basically that you must. You got the
You must increase the bust.
You must interview minorities for roles. So that could go twofold for me. If I'm in a situation, if I were in a minority role in life, yeah, I would.
Which you're not.
I'm not. But I mean, I'm. The Jewish part of me is definitely minority, and
being cheap doesn't make you Jewish.
Wow. No, what?
What? Who said that?
What you meant to say was being cheap doesn't make you a minority. So I got the Italian and Jewish. I got Italian and Jewish on me, sides of me, but I'm joking around about that. But if I was a minority and like people were, if teams were forced to interview me, I'd be a little upset with that. No.
Yeah, me too.
No,
I'm not on video, right?
Forced. Yeah. How'd that taste? Like pizza.
So on video.
So here's a big hole
of success.
Here's a major hole in the Rooney Rule.
He said a hole.
He said hole.
First, a major hole in the Rooney Rule is that it applies only to head coaches and not to coordinators.
He said head.
And where
he said hole.
And where do we look for the next head coach? Mostly offensive and defensive coordinators, right? So I think that the NFL needs to tidy up on that. Two, so this is how well this is working. Your Rooney Rule. This is, it's a great idea. It's working really well. 2 of the last 19 head coaches, and that's over the last 3 years. So there's been 19 head coach vacancies. I don't know if you guys can't keep your falling. There's been 19 head coaching vacancies over the last 3 years, and 2 of them are minorities. So I don't know how well this Rooney Rule is working, if they need to revamp it to apply it to the coordinator roles also, because that's just not, getting it done. And then you got, is it Eric Bieniemy? I might be pronouncing that. Bieniemy. He's a big up and coming offensive coordinator. I mean, he said on his own, he did an interview and he said, he enjoyed the interview process on the interviews that he went on, and that he sees no issue that, he didn't feel like he was like the token guy to be interviewed. And then you got the guy down, what's his name? And he is, I don't know if he's the quarterback coach down in Tampa. What's his name? Brian Leftwich, right? So
really? That old quarterback?
Yeah. So, he's played in the league. He's a so-so quarterback. He's dealing with Jameis Winston right now, who Jameis Winston led the league in passing yards. Whether you want to, whether you believe it or not, he led the league in passing yards he was only one over 5,000 yards. Him and Dak Prescott came in second, just under 5,000 yards. He wants, just on a little tangent, he wants $30 million a year. He wants $1 million per interception. First guy in the 30-30 club. 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. And, I don't think Jameis Winston is a great quarterback, but I think to be able to squeeze out 5,000 yards, and it might have been having to do with them playing from behind, but I think you're a pretty good coach when you can squeeze 5,000 plus yards out of a mediocre, quarterback who's throwing 30 interceptions. But everybody across the league says this guy deserves to be a head coach. Andy Reid says he deserves to be a head coach. He's, that offense in Kansas City is just ridiculous. It's like a vaunted offense there. So I think I've given my spiel on the Rooney rule. I think it's a ridiculous rule to have. It's kind of crazy to me. But if you're going to implement a rule like that, implement it across the board. You got to have it. When you're talking about plucking people from different positions, those are the coordinator spots, and it just doesn't apply to that. So it's tough to say that they're not getting a fair share, their fair shake. But if you're not covering the offensive and defensive coordinator roles, then you're really taking out a ton of different options for GMs and owners. Which there's one African American GM in the league, and he works for the Miami Dolphins, and their head coach is an African American as well. And probably with the talent that he had, like I said before, one of the better coaches in the league based on the talent and based on the amount of wins they got out of him. So I don't know who wants to follow me up on that, but what do you guys' takes on the Rooney Rule?
It's insulting. How is it not insulting?
Yeah.
Because it started back in the day with Steve Mariucci. Remember Steve Mariucci became the coach of the 49ers? 49ers, from the beginning, we want Mariucci. We want Mariucci. We want Mariucci. I want to coach the 49ers. I want to coach the 49ers. It's done. It's pretty much done. Oh, but wait, we're going to have to interview this guy just for the hell of it.
And it's a token interview.
You know you're not getting the job, but you're going to show up to some stupid interview? How is that not insulting? Same thing with the Giants. Let's say the Giants from the beginning wanted Judge. We want Judge. He's our guy. Judge wants to coach the Giants. Oh, but wait, we have to interview the enemy just to follow some stupid rule, even though we want nothing to do with them right now. It's an insulting rule, and it's a stupid rule. My opinion.
I agree. Keith, my buddy Keith, what do you got to say?
So it's complex. So no, it's complex because there's a lot of discrimination, and there's a lot of complexion discrimination, and I think that the idea is a good thing. I think the rule itself is not necessarily effective. I think that if you are a certain team and you have a certain vision, and there are candidates out there that fit your vision, and none of them happen to be of a minority stature, you should not be forced to interview those people. I think it's insulting to the people. For example, I mentioned in our private chat, Lovie Smith. I think Lovie Smith was used. I think it was 2016, if I'm not mistaken, but it was somewhere around that timeline. I think he was used, and I think it was insulting, and I think it was unfair not only to him, I think it was unfair to all minorities that he was a token individual interviewed by several teams just to meet the requirements. I don't think it's right. I think if a team hires somebody and it's obvious there's some discrimination, there should be some third-party league investigation into that. And if any of you listen to Stephen A. Smith, I'm not talking to you because you're really not intelligent enough to really understand what I'm saying. But I think that, if you hire somebody and the obvious better candidate for your scheme and what you're trying to accomplish was the minority person, but you went with some off-name person based on complexion, yes, you should be investigated, and that should be done by a third party. In the Giants case, in any hiring's case, especially, McCarthy and these other guys, I don't think that is what happened. I don't think that we should make a mockery of discrimination by having to interview somebody who doesn't fit the specifications of what we're looking for based on the fact that we're required to interview them.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Well,
let's hear from the minority.
I think. Okay. I think the Rooney Rule is in place for that specific fact, to make sure that there are no stereotypes being used. Like, listen, the Jewish thing is a stereotype. The black thing would be a stereotype.
Yep.
The reason it took so long to get black quarterbacks was because of a stereotype, was because of people not believing that they could handle being a quarterback because they weren't smart enough. The Rooney Rule is in place to try to stop that stereotype. Now, it does need to be tweaked maybe a little bit, but at the same time, if you make these guys have to interview a minority, such as a Lovie Smith, the guy that was the quarterback, was the coach for the Panthers. What's his name? The Spanish guy, Ron Rivera.
Ron Rivera, who went to the Redskins.
Yeah, the reason I say these things is because they're all stereotypes. So you have to try to battle the stereotypes. Now, the Rooney Rule makes you have to fight that, because at the end of the day, guys, if we're living in a real world and we're going to talk plain and honest, a lot of guys are not going to hire a black guy as their head coach. A lot of owners don't. They haven't. It's been going on for years and years and years. When 90% of the guys that you're coaching are black guys or minorities, Spanish guys, or whatever the case may be, maybe you want to get a black head coach who can work with them a little better, maybe understand them a little better, maybe be more in sync. Because I know in the real world, I know that people that are the same type of people can work together a little bit better, understand each other a little bit better. I'm not saying that you can't understand each other. I'm just saying that it takes a little bit of work. So I think the Rooney Rule is good in the fact that it's trying to move the NFL forward in a sense where they hire people, they hire minorities, they'll hire black GMs, they'll hire black coaches, they'll hire black offensive coaches, because whether it's written there or not, if you have a black if you have a black head coach, he'll probably hire a black coordinator or a defensive or offensive coordinator, just like the black GM will hire a black coach. You got to look at the intent of the rule. Now, like with a lot of other things, it needs to be tweaked, it needs to be resolved, it needs to be fixed. But at the same time, the intent of the rule is a good thing. So I think the Rooney Rule is a good thing, in my opinion. As Tim said, since I'm a minority.
But would you be offended if you were a token interview? You'd be offended.
It doesn't matter whether I'm offended. It's the fact that I'm getting a shot. Listen, being offended is not the point. The point is that I'm getting a shot to interview this. Now, this guy may not like me and say, okay, I'm bringing you in as a token interview because I just want to hear what you got to say, because I have to interview a Spanish guy or a black guy or whatever it is. Yeah, you bring me into that. But then the fact is that it goes out around the league that I got interviewed for this job. Now, whether that means something or doesn't mean something, I have to work that out. It's not about me being offended. I have to look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is the fact that we're getting interviewed now. Minorities are getting interviewed for head coaching jobs. Minorities
have to be interviewed.
So what?
You have to be interviewed.
You have to make a change, Tim. You can't just say whoop-de-doo. Let's let these old rich guys make the decision.
You're missing my point of why it's offensive. You're not being interviewed on your skill set. You're being interviewed because of your race.
I'm not missing the point. I understand that. I'm willing to take that point, that offensive issue, and work with it. Because if you don't work with it, it's not going to change. Things don't change just all of a sudden, the Rooney Rule, and then all of a sudden there's 28 black head coaches out of a 30-team league. It doesn't work, a 32-team league. It doesn't work that way. The intent of the Rooney Rule is to give everybody a fair shot at getting hired. Now, the truth is, I'm not getting the interview because I might be the guy for you. I'm getting the interview because of the Rooney Rule, but I'm getting the interview. That's what you have to realize, that I'm getting the interview, and whether I get the job or not, I'm getting the interview. And that's really the intent of the rule, to get the minorities to have the interview, to have a chance. I may be able to change your mind. I may be the guy that comes in and says, hey, look at what I can do. And you're like, hold up a minute, this guy's smarter than the other guy. And that will get me in the door, whether I get in as an offensive coordinator, whether I get in as a head coach. I may be able to change that mind. And that's what the rule is intended for, to give you a shot. You know what I mean?
So let me just add this. If I say to myself, this guy Joe Judge, I'm Mara, let's say. This guy Joe Judge, he's my guy. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done. There's really no changing my mind. But I have to interview Lovie Smith, because if I don't, I get in trouble. And I just bring him in, run through the mill, buy him a dinner, kick him out, and then hire my guy anyway. I think that's where Tim's coming from and where Rodriguez is coming from. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not speaking for you. I'm just interpreting my perception. Is, hey, you know what? Normally, because of my complexion, I may not get this shot. Bring me in the door and interview me anyway. I don't care. And now it's up to me to change your mind that I'm better.
Right,
You're giving me a shot. Where before I didn't even have that opportunity.
I understand Timmy's view, and I get it. And as a coach, as a guy who's well prepared in his craft and knows what he's doing and all that stuff, yeah, I might get offended. Of course, I should be offended because you're bringing me in just because of my color. But at the same time, you're bringing me in, and that's what wasn't happening before. The fact that you're bringing me in gives me that shot, whether it's a failure or not. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is you have to give me that shot. And if I change your mind, I do. If I don't, I don't. But I understand what Timmy's saying, and I would take offense to it in a way. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, you know what? I gotta try this, because change happens only when people are willing to sometimes suck it up. Sometimes you just gotta suck it up and say, you know what? I gotta try. You know, I gotta go through this humiliating process and still try to be a man about it. And sometimes you, like you said, you know, it's just for shits and grins, as they say, you know, but you got to give me a shot.
Yeah, because if there was a rule where, we have to interview a fat guy with a goatee, every time my phone rang, I'll be like, here it comes.
but now,
the bullshit
no, listen,
here we go.
A fat guy with a goatee is not the same as the minority thing. Let's not play let's not play it up let's not play it up as a joke here, because if you're gonna play it up as a joke,
I didn't say what color the fat guy with the goatee was.
The color is a big thing. You know, you may not understand it because you haven't gone through it, but I can understand it. So if I put you in my shoes, you'll understand things a little bit different. I've been in your shoes.
You're Spanish, and I don't like Spanish people's shoes.
Right. So any color.
What I was saying was, in theory, the Rooney Rule is noble and it makes a lot of sense. It just needs to be adjusted and corrected a little bit, I think.
And
I don't disagree.
I agree
it's just
with
like
that.
affirmative action. I have no issue with affirmative action. As a matter of fact, I agree with affirmative action. But when it was first introduced, it was a little bit overboard, and it needed to be. And then over time, it evolved into something that was more reasonable and something that was more workable and fair to everyone involved. But initially, like affirmative action, you needed affirmative action because people would not even look at somebody because of their color in industry. You could have somebody who was black and way better than you, but he was not even looked at because he was black.
That's the basis for the Rooney Rule.
Right, exactly. So now I think we've evolved, but a lot of people don't think so because of the ratio. And I might be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. Or if somebody could show me that I'm wrong, I'll admit it. I'm not standing firm on this, but I think as a society, we may have evolved a little bit. But as NFL owners, as a society, they may not have evolved. And I may not be in touch with
because there's not one black owner. Or minority owner.
I may not be as in touch.
How many black
I'm in touch with society. I'm in touch with society and workplaces and stuff because that's where I'm at. I'm not in touch with NFL owners. So I don't know if they've evolved. So I know where I'm at, and where I'm at, things have evolved. But maybe in the NFL, they have not. And maybe these things are still prominent, like as far as looking at somebody for their color as opposed to their qualifications. I think in this particular case with the Giants, and maybe I'm biased because I'm a Giant fan, I don't think that's what happened at all. This guy, Joe Judge, if he walked into an interview and I am in charge of hiring a football coach, he would have sold me based off that press conference. I can only imagine.
I agree. Hire whoever you want. It's your team. Hire whoever you want. But you have to give everybody a shot, even if it's a guy that you don't think is qualified. And the Rooney Rule, the intent of the Rooney Rule, I agree with. The way
like if Tomlinson came in there as a candidate and you hired Joe Judge over Tomlinson, I would say, something's a little fishy there, maybe, right?
Maybe.
Okay, but you're talking about him over some OC from Kansas City, who also, by the way, has no head coaching experience.
Yeah, I'm not getting into this. I'm not about the specifics of it, guys. Understand that. I'm about the intent of the rule, and I think the intent of the rule is good. Whether it's
I'm probably being specific.
Part, I get it, but
when are we going to get our first Asian head coach? That's what I want to know.
When football moves to Japan.
You want to know why we don't have any? Want to know why we don't have an Asian head football coach?
Brian Hum sucks.
That's why.
Because Brian Hum sucks.
Okay. All right, and I would entertain that thought if it was serious, but we really have no Asians in the NFL. So I mean, aside from Hawaiians who are possibly Asian descendant, but Samoans, right? Whatever.
The Rock.
We're gonna wrap this.
Social media time.
All right, let's get past this and let's get into a little bit of social media stuff. You are watching right now on the Facebook group, the We Stomped You Out show by Cine Sports Talk. You can follow us on YouTube at Cine Sports Talk, as well as Snapchat at Cine Sports Talk. And just one update that we've made from a group from cinesportstalk.com standpoint is, oh, look at that. Look at that. I like it. Like it a lot. From a cinesportstalk.com standpoint, let's go Mets. What we started to do is that we are going to load videos on YouTube to let you guys know exactly when the contests and the giveaways are going to be going up on the rest of social media. So as long as you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Cine Sports Talk, which is what you're watching on right now, as long as you subscribe to that and ring the little bell, you'll get notified first when a video goes up, and you'll see this gorgeous face tell you when and what time, Bad Boys. That was the first one that we did it with Bad Boys. And Bad Boys, the movies, the Bad Boys movies are not the greatest movies in the world, but there are these cult type of classics, if you will. And so that was our first giveaway for 2020, and we got 1,100 clicks on the link within the first 7 minutes, and it was just insane. And glad that we updated our servers about 3 or 4 years ago, because we used to crash with stuff like that. So we've come a long way on that. For the podcast stuff, the radio shows, you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker. For now, we'll talk about a change coming up in the next couple weeks or so. And then you'll just do a search for the Cine Sports Talk Radio Network, wherever you listen to your favorite shows and or podcasts, so that you can get shows like this show, the We Stomped You Out show, our Just Too Sweet show. Woo! Which, by the way, a phenomenal episode the other night on the Montreal Screwjob, Bret Hart, all that kind of stuff, Shawn Michaels, Vince McMahon, that kind of triangle there. And they got a third member, and you'll have to listen to the show to find out exactly who that is. And then hopefully soon here we'll be able to see you guys. We'll give you a little run through of this, and then you could just do this. but I wanted to, we got a couple more things to talk about before we get going. And Rodriguez, you mentioned a phenomenal point earlier when you talked about how the NFL was, and we have a user saying, "Don't insult Bad Boys 2 like that." I don't know what you mean by that, and you have not gone in and clicked that link. You're watching us
unless you live in New York
on Facebook. I know. I'm working on it. It's like the struggle of a lifetime. But for whoever that was that says don't insult Bad Boys 2 like that, I didn't insult. I love Bad Boys 2. I like Bad Boys 2 better than Bad Boys 1. And go ahead and click that link. It says StreamYard up at the top of the description of the show, and authorize the app so I can see who you are, see your face, and all that stuff. I could pop your comment up onto the screen here. But Rodriguez, your comment before was about how it took a long time for the NFL to even get black quarterbacks. Now, for the first time in NFL history, the top 4 quarterbacks in the league were all black. Lamar, and this is touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, which is ridiculous, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Jameis Winston, 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. We'll look past that for a second. Russell Wilson, 31 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and Dak Prescott, 30 and 11.
Asterisk.
Stupid.
Yeah. And then
you played the NFC East too much. Asterisk.
Well, and that Facebook user again clicked on the link so I could see who you are. But you said I said not the best movies in the world. I mean, when I say that, they're not Oscar award-winning films. I will watch Bad Boys 2 once a week for a year because I love that movie. But it's not an Oscar winner. That's where I went with that. And then you got going back to the Danny Jones things. Danny Jones had 24 touchdowns. He had the same amount of touchdowns as Tom Brady. He had 2 less touchdowns. These are guys who played more games than him. He had 2 less touchdowns than Matt Ryan, 2 less touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers. Mahomes missed some time. 2 less touchdowns than Kirk Cousins. 3 less touchdowns than Carson Wentz. All these guys who are established in the league. And your boy Danny Dimes was within a few touchdowns of being actually 5th in the league in touchdowns. So Danny Dimes has given us reason to believe that could be right where he was picked. And next year, I'm sure with the coaching and developing, he'll take that next step forward as
better than Eli's season.
Yeah, it was better than Who was Eli's first touchdown pass to?
Amani Toomer.
Let's see everybody's answer. And I just looked this up before the show.
Shockey?
All right, Rodriguez.
I was gonna say Shockey.
All right, it's Shockey. Jeremy Shockey. Right there. Right over the middle.
Jeremy Shockey?
Jeremy Shockey. You got it, Keith. You were right.
Thanks, bro.
Do that too, Keith.
All right. Last thing before we go, let's talk about the games upcoming this weekend. Last week, the home teams went 1-3. I don't know that that's going to happen this week, although there's a potential for a few upsets to happen. So let's go through our picks real quick. Again, it's playoff time, and it is a Saturday-Sunday event. So Saturday. And I'll get to watch more football this weekend because last weekend I was up in Orlando. But Saturday, 4:35 game is the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings went into New Orleans and beat the Saints last week. Can they do the same thing against the 49ers? I know Rodriguez is not going to pick against the 49ers because that's like your second or third. Like if there were no Giants, the Giants didn't exist. I feel like you'd be a 49er fan.
I'd be a Niner fan.
All right. So we got
NFC wise. Yeah.
We got Rodriguez's
I don't
answer.
understand that if you're a Giant fan, especially in the 80s, but okay.
I said if the Giants didn't exist, he'd be a 49ers fan.
But they did. And they can never
but they do. They did exist. You just took the Giants out of the league. You said they did exist. All right, Rodriguez, you got the 49ers. Timmy, who you got?
49ers.
49ers. Keith.
I got the Giants breaking Joe Montana's finger. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm picking the 49ers to win.
You can't be mad at me for liking the Niners. Come on. It's not like the Cowboys. Please.
No, it's not. But if you're an 80s Giants fan, it's pretty close.
No, or the run that they went on in these last couple Super Bowls. That was good game against the 49ers. What's his name? Muffed that punt.
Muffet?
My God, that was such a hard that postseason was heart attack city. I think we played we beat, it was a Tampa at first, but then that Cowboys game where it came down to Romo with like 30 seconds left and he had 4 shots at the end zone and then he threw the pick, and then you got the Packers game.
R.W. McQuarters.
Right, McQuarters, baby.
Wow. I remember it. Wow.
Was it the first or second? It was the second Super Bowl that we went to San Francisco and played the 49ers, right? Because the first one, it was Tampa, Cowboys, Packers. And then Favre threw that interception. That's the game where
that was great.
Where my jerk off friend turned off the TV on the field goal try. All right, so I'm going to go with the 49ers, but I think this is a potential upset here, but I'm going with the 49ers. I just don't think I'm going to put any money on this game because it's too close for me. The AFC game for Saturday night is the Tennessee Titans, who won me some money over the weekend against the Patriots, heading to Baltimore. Rodriguez, who you got?
Ravens.
Okay, I'll save this question. Tim, who you got?
Yeah, they wait for me to
This
pick.
is the problem here. This is the problem. We should have started with Tim.
But I'm going Ravens.
All right, so Titans are gonna. Let's put big money on the Titans.
Oh man, damn! I didn't know that. I may have to change to the Titans. But
for those of you watching your first episode of this show this year, the curse is Timmy Tabala with the Titans. I think you've gotten.
I won like the last 3 though.
Yeah, like 3. You're 3 in a row.
I think it's over. I think the curse is over.
Keith,
Timmy killed it.
Picking Baltimore.
I picked the Pats last week.
You did. Look, you know what's funny? I picked the Pats in our picks, but I put my money on Tennessee. I've done that a lot in the last few weeks. But I'm gonna go with Baltimore also. I don't think that there's much of a chance for Tennessee to. Although I'll let you know that Tennessee does believe that they'll go into Baltimore and win this game. But
they can, but they probably won't.
It's gonna be in the 60s.
Yeah.
Here too.
Yeah, you guys are getting some nice weather right now. Up there. All right, now there goes the Saturday games. Now onto the Sunday games. This one, I don't think there's much of an opportunity for an upset, but you never know. The Texans. That's why we play the games, boys. That's why we play the games. The Texans head to KC to play Sir Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Rodriguez, who you got?
I picked the Chiefs only because of Mahomes.
That's our boy.
Only reason.
Former New York Met, Patrick Mahomes.
Senior.
Pat Mahomes, senior. Timmy.
I'm going Chiefs.
As he blows the raspberry. Going with the Chiefs. Keith, who you got?
I'm picking Mahoney and the Chiefs.
My Mahomie.
Mahoney.
I'm going with the Chiefs
Police
also.
Academy throwback.
Yes, Police Academy is great. I love Police Academy. And then the final game of the weekend has upset written all over it, I think.
Could be, yeah.
The Seattle Seahawks, who went 7-1 on the road. And we know, we watched it. We lived it. We've seen Green Bay lose more often than what we're used to in up there in Green Bay in the playoffs. So Seattle heads in with 7-1 record on the road to play Green Bay. Mr. Rodriguez, who you got?
I'm picking Seahawks. I can't. Russell Wilson.
Jambalaya.
Come on. And now
Timmy.
they have the big guy, the big running back guy again.
Yeah. Beast mode.
Yeah, this is the one that I teeter on. But I said I'm going for all the home teams this week, so I'm going to go with Green Bay.
Yep. All right, Keith.
Very slim. Very slim.
You know who I picked? Who did I pick?
Not really.
I don't remember who you picked.
I picked the Packers.
You picked the Packers. Oh my god! I watched Green Bay. I watched a lot of Green Bay games this year for whatever reason. But I don't think that they are a 2 seed. Like I know their record says otherwise, but I just their play doesn't feel like a 2 seed to me, and so I'm going with the Seahawks on this one. But do you know? Little fun tidbit.
No.
And this is relevant for us because we suck. But the San Francisco 49ers went from the number 2 pick in the draft to the number 1 seed in the NFC this year.
Yep.
Can we do it?
If we would have got Chase Young, we could have, because they got Nick Bosa.
Chase Young. So
Exactly.
here's something from a little bit earlier. Can the Giants trade up to get Chase Young? And that all that all goes with whatever the Bengals think is possible for them if the Giants were to trade up, because you gotta get past, because who knows what the Redskins are thinking at this point. The Redskins,
the Giants' philosophy since time immemorial, a little Sopranos there, is best talent on the board. They will not trade up.
Well, that was a Jerry Reese thing, though. That was
maybe it's time for a change.
It was a Jerry Reese thing. It was a since time memorial. The garbage industry and Hollywood, and the Giants not trading up.
I don't know.
Now Keith's Fuckata of the week.
I don't have one. I don't know who to Fuckata.
I just made it simple for you.
I will Fuckata
the Redskins. Just don't pick Chase Young. Do it.
I will Fuckata every pick above us not to pick Chase Young.
Now Keith's Fuckata of the week.
Fuckata everybody above us.
That's weak. I wanted a bigger Fuckata out of you this week.
I can't.
And now
I'm saving my big
Fuckata of the week. And now Keith's Fuckata of the week.
Is it because you're on your porch and you want?
That's good.
That was actually pretty good. I like that. That was a creepy Fuckata.
Yeah, I like that one.
Hey, can I just say?
The Walking Dead Fuckata.
Can I just, speaking of Sopranos, Mike Domino is a great Sopranos name.
It is. Hey, Mike Domino out of Staten Island.
Mike Domino, how you doing? Who owns that club? Mike Domino owns that club. Oh, Mikey D, yeah.
Mikey D, that's what they would do. That's exactly where they would go right there. Before we head out, I do want to ask you guys, what was completely not football related, what was the best movie that you saw in 2019?
Oh God, I'm taking so much crap for that. I don't even know what came out in 2019, to be honest with you.
There's a lot. I mean,
you guys are all doing your top 10 of the decade. I think 8 of mine would be a Marvel movie. So I stay away. I stay away from your list.
So what you're saying is Marty Scorsese would hate your top 10.
He would hate my top 10.
Mine too.
Last impressions, I really liked Uncut Gems. That was a really good movie, man.
Yeah, I need to see one more movie, and that's 1917, and then I'll make my. I don't really care about the cutoff. I've made myself pretty clear on that on the site since we started this in 2011. But I'll wait until after the year and see everything I need to see. But I do want to see 1917 before I make my final top 10. But Uncut Gems is going to be in my top 3 or 4. So
good.
Huh?
It was so good.
It was so good. And then The Irishman's going to be up there also.
Yeah.
And I know, Tim, I know you hated Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But it's going to be definite top 5 there.
I haven't seen it yet.
You still haven't seen it? Okay. Well,
I know I'm in the minority.
Yeah. But I mean that's okay. That's why
Tarantino.
That's why top 10 lists are I love just scouring the internet looking at top 10s.
To have your vote.
I just don't want to see 15 minutes of Brad Pitt driving.
Yeah. No,
I don't want to see Margot Robbie watching a movie.
Yeah.
I'll see her do anything.
Out, it might play a whole different way, and I might love the movie.
Yeah. Well, Rodriguez, I'm with Rodriguez. I'll just sit there and watch Margot Robbie do anything. But
all you saw was her head.
But I felt that way with his last movie. Was it The Hateful Eight?
The Hateful Eight.
The first 7 minutes of the movie is a horse and carriage.
Yeah.
Coming by.
Thing, yeah.
So I think you could pick a scene or two in every Tarantino movie that you could be like, get it out of here, or cut it in a third, 2/3 of it out, or something like that. Rodriguez, yeah, anything that comes to mind?
Like Timmy, I gotta be honest. The movie I enjoyed the most was Endgame, right? But the one that surprised me the most, that I didn't think it was gonna be this good, was the Joker. I mean, I thought it was just fantastic.
You're another.
I didn't expect that.
Marty Scorsese would hate you right now. The Joker.
Yeah, he'll hate me too because The Irishman was boring as.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Boring. By the time I watched 2 hours of it, and I said to myself, I can't even watch Pesci and De Niro anymore. I'm tired of them. I mean, what are you doing?
But that's what's funny about
already.
What's funny about those two movies, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The Irishman, is that there are people that have, and like I said before, I scour the web to look at top 10s, worst 10, but there are people that have that both of those movies in their top 10, and then there's people out there that have them in their worst 10 of the year. So it's
He could have cut it up into a Netflix show. He could have done like a 3-episode thing like they used to do in the old days, and you probably would have enjoyed the movie more as better than having me sit there for 3 hours and watch these guys just be mobsters. I mean, just talk, just the whole mobster thing. I get it, I like it, I enjoy it, but Jesus Christ, Marty, come on.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was filled with a lot of old school movie technique, dialogue, paying attention to interactions, things happening in the background. It strays from a lot of modern movie techniques where everything is just straight action in your face, happening so quick. It was something that had to do with a lot of non-action. Like I said, dialogue, things happening in the background, interactions. Right. And for some people, that's sleepy time. And for other folks, it's very intriguing. So,
I watched
3 hours is too long.
I watched it in 3 parts because I started watching I started watching
it
at 2 o'clock.
Better with like 6 half-hour episodes.
Yeah.
But the length. It's not the length that bothers me. It's that nothing happens in the
length
that bothers me, especially for a Scorsese movie. I mean, you watch Goodfellas, and that's just you're never bored. You're never like oh my god, this movie sucks. This is too long. Every scene is classic in that movie.
Yeah.
This one was just like, oh yeah, we're talking about killing someone, but you don't see no one get killed. You don't see nothing going on. You
know what Bill Simmons mentioned on his show. Was that like how De Niro's character was like looking back on what has happened in life and whatnot. So he kind of said, maybe Scorsese's at that point of his life where he's looking back on his life, and that's kind of the direction that he went on that. But no, I watched it in 3 different what would be better? What would have been a better movie? The Irishman? Or a movie about the mob in which somebody gets cut up into a bunch of different pieces and in different garbage areas, and then they become whole again at the garbage dump, and they, kill everybody they want to do in their life.
Maybe it's supernatural, maybe it's not.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Good talk there. All right. So I think that'll do it. We haven't decided on this if this is going to be the last episode of the season, but I think we should come back with another episode or two with the playoffs and whatnot. And I'm sure that we're gonna get our offensive coordinator and defense coordinator in there.
I think worst case a post Super Bowl episode.
Decision made. And this year, I know we talked about it last year, but this year we should definitely do a draft special. Absolutely, I'm calling it right now. That'll be our last show of 2020.
Yeah, there's no Avengers movie this year.
Can't do it, huh?
There's no Avengers movie coming out this year.
Yeah, no, yeah, and we can't be doing a Mets show during the draft.
We'll do a draft viewing in Studio 5 and record all of our interactions.
Yeah, giddy up
and reactions.
Giddy up again. All right, good show, guys. Talked about, just a recap. We talked about new head coach. We talked about the Rooney Rule. We talked about how Danny Dimes is better than that douche Mayfield in Cleveland, and good stuff. We talked about a little bit of movies, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. A great Fuakata of the week from Keith. Talked about Brooklyn Water Coffee. We talked about CineSportsTalk.com, and that is it, fellas. We've got nothing left to talk about tonight. So I appreciate you guys joining. I appreciate you joining us 6 times today.
Actually, you dropped off more than me, so apologize.
Yeah, but I did it on purpose so that I could share.
Boom!
I'm back.
Look at
that, guys. Any closing remarks, Keith?
I was just. Let's go Giants. Let's go Joe Judge. Ravens are going to win it all.
Oh, bold prediction there. The Ravens going to take it all in the Super Bowl. Timmy, final thoughts of the evening.
I'm excited about our new head coach. He is my second favorite judge. Let's go Giants.
He's my first favorite. He's my number one judge. Rodriguez, any closing remarks?
I can't wait for us to get an offensive and a defensive coordinator and get started on the new season for the G-Man.
Yes.
We're going to be solid.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate the comments. I think Mikey D with the most amount of comments today. We appreciate it. All right, guys. Later.
OPC.
We stop you out.
Super Bowl champs, baby.